Kenya's devolution journey since 2013, the ups and downs, the slips and the skips, the challenges and the triumphs.
I want to take this early opportunity to commend the Council of Governors. You have been able to find a way around our sometimes toxic and divisive politics. You have been able to create a leadership that looks past party and political differences and moves you forward as a team. 10 years into devolution, Kenya is a much transformed landscape with an amazing opportunity for rural economic revival and transformation.
Eldoret.
Hey! Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the president has arrived at the grounds. He's now at the grounds. He will shortly be visiting the exhibition stands. And then after the exhibition...
Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Your Excellency, sir, with the kind permission, ladies and gentlemen, may we all be seated. I wish to invite Dr. Mbarali Kemoy to lead us in a word of prayer. Dr. Mbarali.
Let us pray. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal 'asr. Innal insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Thank you. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Speaker of Senate, Honorable Amason Kingi, the Chairperson of the Council of Governors, and also the Kirinyaga Governor, High Excellency Anne Waiguru, all governors and leadership of COG, all senators, all principal secretaries present, all organizers, national and international partners, county government officers, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, sir, it is indeed a great pleasure to host you during this 8th Devolution Conference that marks and takes stock of 10 years of devolution with the theme Driving Transformation from the Local Level with the county governments at the center of economic development. Your Excellency, sir, this ceremony this afternoon with all members present has been a successful week-long event that has culminated with a lot of solution-seeking, way forward, and of course sharing best practices across all 47 counties across this country, Your Excellency. At this juncture, we will be hearing more of the resolutions and also the input from various stakeholders presented here. And at this juncture, I wish to invite our host governor, Uasin Gishu Governor Jonathan B., to make his welcoming remarks and get us through the next program. Your Excellency, sir.
Asante sana, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of Kenya. Let me adopt the protocol as it has been since we began this meeting. And all the people, good afternoon. Chamge. Now today, I stand before you as your host governor, filled with gratitude as we reflect upon an outstanding devolution conference that has left an indelible mark on our hearts. First and foremost, I want to take this opportunity to welcome His Excellency, the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, to our County of Champions. And I've been telling everybody, karibu, karibu, karibu. And I'm told we are closing the meeting and I'm still saying karibuni. On behalf of Uasin Gishu County Government, I extend a heartfelt thank you to all the participants who have embraced the spirit of this conference and contributed to its resounding success. The intentional theme, 10 years of devolution, the present and the future, has not only been a guiding light, but has become a reality that we can all proudly celebrate. Throughout our intensive engagements, we have delved into the remarkable strides and gains that have shaped our devolved units. Equally important, we have confronted the challenges that continue to impede our progress. What is truly heartening is that we have not only identified these hurdles, but have also crafted pragmatic solutions and that are tailored to overcome them. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw the curtains on this captivating and enlightening conference, I am compelled to acknowledge the abundance of fruitful engagements we have witnessed. To our delegates and visionary leaders, it is my sincere hope that our hospitality has proven to be a gracious host to you all. As we approach the conclusion, it is our hope that our efforts have not only met but exceeded your expectations. I hope I'm saying the truth. Leaving you with a sense of reality that mirrors on our own. This timely conference has woven itself into the fabric of our country's narrative. And for this, we are profoundly thankful. Even Mama Mboga and the humble border industry have felt the reverberation of your presence, underscoring the tangible impact of devolution in its purest form. Your Excellency, I extend our heartfelt appreciation to the Council of Governors, led by indomitable Governor Anne Waiguru, as chairperson, and the tireless efforts of CEO Mary Mwiti. The exceptional leadership has truly set the standard for excellence. And I just learned that Waiguru is the 5th chair after when we started the Devolution. I think the first one was Ruto, Isaac, and then Wells, and then another one. And then the last one, the 4th one was Nanok, and then you are the 5th. And you are in the 5th city, which is coming to be very soon, and we have the 5th president from this backyard. Today, in expressing our appreciation, I also extend sincere gratitude to the state, led by our President, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, and to our Deputy President, present today, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. Today's joint communique reflecting the spirit of unity and collaboration makes the inception of our collective journey towards implementing our comprehensive report. To every participant who has invested time, knowledge, and energy in this conference, your contributions are invaluable. Together, we are not merely shaping our better future for our devolved units, but we are carving a legacy of progress and prosperity. In conclusion, let us all carry the torch ignited by this conference with us, fostering collaboration, progress, and unshakable belief that the future holds boundless possibilities in our counties, with a firm belief that devolution is here to stay and devolution works. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Allow me to invite our Vice Chair COG to read the resolutions of this conference. Asanteni sana, asanteni sana.
Our chief guest, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, I also take this opportunity to welcome you to be our chief guest and to close this conference for us in line with the practice of the devolution conferences we've had. We are happy and glad that you've found time to be with us here today. Your Excellency, mine is to read the joint communique. So this is the joint communique at the end of the Devolution Conference 2023, held from 15th to 19th of August 2023 at Eldoret Sports Club, Uasin County. Preamble. The Devolution Conference 2023 was held from 15th to 19th August 2023 at Eldoret Sports Club, Uasin County. The conference was convened jointly by the Office of the Deputy President, represented by the State Department of Devolution, the Council of Governors, the Senate, the host county, Uasin, and the County Assemblies Forum. These marked the beginning of the biennial devolution conferences. The devolution conference made the following resolutions in line with the theme of 10 years of devolution, the present and the future, and the sub-theme, driving transformation from local level, county government as the center of economic development. Resolution number 1, both levels of government, development partners, and the private sector shall in all sectors synergize their efforts and adopt a coordinated approach to partnerships and implementation of projects and programs to avoid multiplicity of efforts. And the action is national government, county government, development partners, private sector. 2, county government shall support adoption and scaling up of creative resolutions. County government shall adopt, I read that again, county government shall support adoption and scaling up of creative solutions by providing a conducive environment and incubation centers through budgetary allocation and technical support. Action, county governments, development partners, private sector. 3, both levels of government shall review the legislative framework to enhance the autonomy of county assemblies to strengthen their oversight role. Action, Senate, National Assembly, Council of Governors, State Department of Devolution, and County Assemblies Forum. 4, the national government shall create a policy framework for anchoring digitization to support operationalization of programs in all sectors, including health, agriculture, trade, and blue economy. Action, Ministry of ICT, Council of Governors, county governments, private sector. 5, both levels of government shall ensure proper coordination between the ICT departments to ensure full automation of supportive departments such as security, energy, water, and transport, among others. Action, Ministry of ICT, Council of Governors, county governments, and the private sector. 6, county governments shall ensure their own source revenue through supportive policies and automation of systems in order to enhance transparency in revenue collection. Action, the National Treasury, Kenya Revenue, Council of Governors, and the Senate. 7, both levels of government shall enhance and sustain performance management as a tool of strengthening effective service delivery. Action, Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, National Government Ministries, Departments and Agencies, Council of Governors, and county governments. 8, both levels of government shall explore entrenching division of revenue between the national and county governments on the projected budget for the year as opposed to using the last audited accounts. Action, Council of Governors, county governments, the Senate, National Assembly, and the Commission on Revenue Allocation, CRA. 9, thank you. 9, Parliament shall fast-track the enactment of various laws before both houses that support the devolved functions in all sectors. Action: Senate, National Assembly, and County Assemblies. 10. All devolved functions currently being carried out by national government ministries, agencies, and departments shall be transferred to the county governments within 60 days, together with the attendant resources. Action: Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, the Council of Governors, all ministries, departments, and agencies. 11. Both levels of government shall promote transparency and accountability through multi-pronged, innovative approaches within the existing policy framework. Action: Commission on Administrative of Justice, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, county governments, Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Office of the Auditor General, and Office of the Controller of Budget. 12. Both levels of government shall promote economic empowerment of the marginalized groups by adhering to the statutory reporting guidelines on the opportunities created for the marginalized groups through the access to government procurement opportunities, AGBO. Action: All ministries, departments, and agencies, county governments, Council of Governors, National Treasury, and the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. 13. Both levels of government shall design programs to facilitate the prevention and elimination of gender-based violence and promote the reintegration of teenage mothers into the formal school system. Action: Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Art, Ministry of Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, Ministry of Health, county governments, development partners. On housing planning and urban development, resolution number 14. Both levels of government shall fast-track regularization, automation, documentation, and registration of land, while also bridging the gender gap in land ownership. Action: Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, Ministry of Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, county governments, Council of Governors, development partners, and the Ministry of ICT. 15. Both levels of government shall review or develop frameworks to facilitate provision of green housing, including the housing policy, the national land policy, energy planning standards, and county-specific policies on land and housing. Action: Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, county governments, Council of Governors, development partners, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, the Senate, and the National Assembly. 16. A framework shall be developed to establish and operationalize the National Urban Development Fund as provided for in the National Urban Development Policy. Action: Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, the National Treasury, Senate, county governments, Council of Governors, and the development partners. On investments, resolution number 17, a database of all micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, shall be developed to promote linkages between the investors and the MSMEs. Action: Micro and small enterprises organizations, the Council of Governors, private sector, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, Ministry of Cooperatives and SMEs. 18. Both levels of government shall engage and harmonize investment initiatives in line with their development plans. Action: Micro and small enterprises organizations, Council of Governors, private sector, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, Ministry of Cooperatives and SMEs. On the blue economy sector, resolution number 19, both levels of government shall align county blue economy policies to the national blue economy policy that was adopted from the blue economy concept of the African Union. Action, Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, county governments, and the Council of Governors. 20. Both levels of government shall increase investment in research and development to improve efficiencies in the blue economy sector. Action, Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, county governments, the Council of Governors, development partners, and the private sector. On health service delivery, resolution number 21, county governments shall increase investments in primary health care, including community health care services, in order to step up preventive and promotive health services. Action, Council of Governors, county governments, and the national government. 22. County governments shall strengthen collaboration between public and non-state actors in health for resource optimization and improved service delivery. Action, Council of Governors, county governments, development partners, faith-based organizations within the health sector, and private sector actors. Resolution number 23, efforts to eliminate disease-based and align health programs in order to reduce duplication, build efficiencies, and strengthen one integrated health system shall be heightened. Action, Council of Governors, county governments, the national government, and private sector, and development partners as well. On strengthening of food systems, resolution number 24, agriculture shall be prioritized by investing 10% of budgets at both levels of government into food systems. Action, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, county governments, private sector, development partners. Number 25, county governments shall develop innovative products to ensure farmers get access to credit facilities and attract the youth to engage in farming. Action by county governments, private sector, and development partners. 26, the National Treasury shall rationalize the taxes on agricultural goods to make them more competitive in the market. Action, National Treasury, Ministry of Trade and Livestock Development, county governments, private sector, development partners, and the Council of Governors. On green economy transition in counties, resolution number 27, a paradigm shift in the production systems shall be explored and resources secured by mapping the resources and developing a national resource register, undertaking economic evaluation, putting in management systems, and creating incentives to better conserve the environment. Action, Ministry of Water, National Treasury, county governments, development partners, private sector. Resolution number 28, both levels of government shall engage with indigenous communities for intergenerational knowledge transfer through climate change storytelling. Action, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, county governments, private sector, development partners, and the Council of Governors. Resolution number 29, both levels of government shall invest in alternative sources and promote farm forestry and incentives to grow trees at community level. Action, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, county governments, private sector, development partners, and the Council of Governors. On empowering youth for inclusive economic growth, resolution number 30. Both levels of government shall enable a conducive environment for youth to carry out business by ensuring reasonable fees and levies for permits, especially for content creators wishing to access and use public spaces. Action, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts, county governments, private sector, development partners. Resolution number 31. Both levels of government shall address mental health issues rampant among youth arising from issues that affect them, such as drugs, suicide, abuse, unemployment, domestic violence by developing and implementing already existing frameworks. Action is required of Ministry of Health, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts, county governments, the private sector, and development partners. On the recommendations of the Children's Conference 2023, the communique that arose from the Children's Conference, as read by the Children's Governor and Deputy Governor yesterday, is adopted as is, and the resolutions will be implemented by the stakeholders identified. And that communique is annexed herein. Further details of the resolutions captured herein will form part of the final conference report. The implementation of the above resolutions shall be monitored and reported by all stakeholders every 6 months over the next 2 years, and progress reported during the next devolution conference. Action is required on that on the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, the Chair of the Council of Governors. Finally, the next biennial devolution conference shall be held in 2025 at a venue and a date that will be communicated after consultation with all stakeholders. This communique is signed by the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, EGH, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency FCP Ahmed Abdullahi, co-chair of the first biennial devolution conference and the vice chair of the Council of Governors, the Right Honorable Amason Kingi, EGH, co-chair of the first biennial devolution conference and the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Philemon Sebulei, chairperson, County Assemblies Forum. I thank you all. Your Excellency, next I will invite on stage the Senator of Nyandarua County, Honorable John Methu, representing the Senate Majority Leader. Honorable John Methu.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua, the Right Honorable Speaker of the Senate, Amason Jeffer Kingi, the Chairperson of the Council of Governors, Governor Anne Waiguru, the Honorable Governors present, my colleague members of Parliament, both from the Senate and the National Assembly, the Honorable Speakers and members of the County Assemblies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and representatives of the development partners and agencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am reading these remarks on behalf of the leader of the Majority Leader of the Senate, Senator Aaron Cheriot, and I wish to make the following remarks. It gives me great honor and privilege to have been part of the Devolution Conference 2023. I would like to take this earliest opportunity to congratulate the Council of Governors, the Senate, the National Assembly, members of the county assemblies, development partners and agencies, resource persons and all stakeholders for making this conference a success. I would also wish to extend my utmost gratitude to the host governor of Uasin Gishu and the great people of Uasin Gishu who have made our time here very memorable. When the history of Kenya is written, the revolutionary role of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, which sets us on the path of devolution, will be a seminal chapter in the Kenyan history. In essence, there is Kenya before devolution and Kenya after devolution. 10 years on, we have seen the immense political, social, and economic impact that devolution has had on the lives of the people of Kenya. The transformation is evident, and as Kenyans, we ought to take pride in the tremendous achievements enabled by devolution. Your Excellency, this conference from this conference, various pertinent issues have been canvassed. Valuable lessons and experiences have been shared. Opportunities have been identified and areas of improvement have been noted. As a partner in the devolution journey and the foremost protector of counties' interests in the national level, the Senate has taken note of the resolutions that have emerged from the various discussions at the plenary and in the sector breakaway sessions. Some of the key issues which would require intervention by the Senate would include: number one, ensuring the equitable allocation to county government is enhanced and dispersed within statutory timelines. Number two, the transfer of all outstanding functions and resources by the national government. Your Excellency, we are very happy that that is not contested. The President has agreed to that, and the Council had agreed to it. Number three is enhancing the financial autonomy of the county assemblies to improve their oversight and accountability, among other proposals, which again is uncontested. Additionally, there were several proposals for legislation which include a framework to enhance county-owned source revenue. One of the proposals in this regard was to encourage counties to leverage on non-traditional revenue resources, among them green bonds. A review on the legal framework on the public-private partnerships to respond to the needs of the counties. Number three, a framework on performance management in the county public service to improve service delivery. Number four, a framework on funding and execution of shared functions between the two levels of government, among other proposals. Your Excellency, sir, and my colleague delegates, some of the sector-specific proposals that call for the intervention of the Senate will include: number one, engaging Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, and the county government in setting minimum standards for electricity and gas reticulation, which is a devolved function under the 4th schedule of the Constitution. Number two is developing a harmonized policy on digitization to facilitate service delivery, digital entrepreneurship, efficiency and effectiveness of the government. Tied to this, it emerged that there is a need to put up a place in the legislative framework to protect critical infrastructure, for example, telecommunication masts and fiber optic cables, which are repeatedly vandalized. Number three is putting in place a legislation to promote the government housing agenda. And finally, harmonization and integration of taxes, licenses, and levies by the county at the county level. Many of the proposals emerging from this forum are in line with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda of the government, which at its core seeks to, among others, reduce the cost of living, increase employment, incentives in investment and production, enhance tax base for more revenue, and increase foreign exchange earnings. We can all agree that devolution is the catalyst for Kenya to unlock its full potential and accelerate development. The Senate will continue to advocate for adequate financing of the county governments, passage of enabling legislations, and full transfer of devolved functions and attendant resources. Additionally, the Senate undertakes to prioritize the resolutions emerging from this forum and to work with all stakeholders to realize the dream of devolution. Success of the next phase of devolution will be majorly dependent on the good governance structures. The Senate will continue to exercise its oversight role over funds allocated to counties to ensure that the objects of devolution espoused in the Article 74 of the Constitution are met. Your Excellency, sir, in conclusion, I urge all Kenyans and the media to be patriotic and emulate the U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, in speaking good about our country. Kenya is our home. Kenya is our home. Do not get distracted by those who condemn the friends of Kenya. Do not keep quiet. Do not shut up. Stand up for Kenya. Stand up for your motherland. Kenya is on the move. With those very few remarks, Your Excellency, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senator Methu. Your Excellency, next I'll call upon His Excellency Governor Stephen Sang, Governor of Nandi County, and the Whip of the Council of Governors to give a vote of thanks.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Excellencies, governors, colleagues, all our delegates, my responsibility is very brief to give a vote of thanks. First, I take this opportunity on behalf of the Council of Governors to first and foremost thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, His Excellency, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, for honoring our invitation and being present during this conference. Your commitment and zeal to the success of devolution is appreciated. The Right Honorable Speaker of the Senate, Kingi, we want to appreciate and thank you for your commitment, participation, and leadership in ensuring that this conference is a success. May I also extend our appreciation to Right Honorable former Prime Minister Raila Odinga for continuously honoring our invite for the last 8 years of the Devolution Conference. Allow me in a special way to recognize the exemplary work by the steering committee, the planning committee, and all the other stakeholders represented here. You took your time to meticulously plan for this special event that led to a very successful conference. Asanteni sana. A special thank you to the host governor, Jonathan B., and your team from Uasin Gishu County Government for your warm hospitality. We leave Uasin Gishu County with fond memories, having enjoyed Mursik and a vibrant nightlife as you had promised us. To fellow governors, our esteemed senators, our valued deputy governors, our speakers, our members of the county assemblies, thank you for staying on through the discussions. I hope the delegates were able to interact with all of us closely. We also are grateful to the national government representatives led by the CSS, the PSS, and top government officials who put in resources and took time to participate and contribute in the discourse that will shape the agenda for the next 2 years. We value your presence and support and contributions. Asanteni sana. To the Senate football team, our worthy competitors who showed Devolution family that it takes commitment, practice, discipline to emerge champions on the course. We are still waiting for the investigations on how you beat us to be concluded, but what we can promise you is that we will be back bigger, better, and stronger in the next Devolution Conference. And Your Excellency, part of the suggestions that have been given about that curtain raiser in the next Devolution Conference is that it is good for us, even as we do our pre-conference events, that we observe the constitutional dictates, so that we compare and pair mangoes with mangoes, oranges with oranges. So we are going to have 2 teams in the next Devolution Conference. The Senate will square it out with the county assemblies in the counties, and then the COG will square it out with your office and the constitutional commissions. So Your Excellency, the Deputy President, prepare for that match. We will sort you out at the national government, at the executive level, so that then the senators can deal with the county assembly, so that legislators can work with the legislators, the executive can deal with themselves at that level. To our sponsors, we cannot thank you enough. We could not have held this conference successfully without your immense support and partnership. Our platinum sponsors, USAID, KCB, Amrev Health Africa, and Safaricom, asanteni sana. To our Gold Plus sponsors, FAO and EU, asanteni sana. Our gold sponsors, CPF and UNICEF, we appreciate you. Our silver sponsors, Love Fund, KEMSA, and Kenya Pipeline, we appreciate your support. Our bronze sponsors, Cooperative Bank, UNAIDS, UNDP, and AGRA, asanteni sana. Category sponsors, World Bank, Communications Authority, Tony Blair Institute, Medotronic Labs, and NITA, and all other partners, including UN Women, National Bank, Farm Access, Media Council of Kenya, EcoBank, CBM, EPRA, KNCCI, UKAID, represented by ACT, JPIEGO, UN Habitat, Campaign Coalition, World Health Organization, Moi University, KenGen, Jambojet, Kenya Airways, and the National Syndemic Disease Control Council. Asanteni sana. To the partners who supported the Devolution Warrior Awards, Kericho Gold, and Carter Watches, Lux and Alua, Plain Chick, thank you so much. To Eldoret Sports Club, for the lovely grounds that you gave us, and the full support during the conference, tunasema asanteni sana. To Hill School, thank you for providing us with ample parking space and space to register all the over 9,000 guests this year. Asanteni sana. To our vendors and suppliers, you kept us with our demands during the preparations, but also stood with us. You have been patient with us. We are truly grateful for your dedication for the last few days. We appreciate you, and asanteni sana. To all our delegates, you are truly friends of Devolution. We will not, and we do not take it for granted. Please receive our deepest and sincere gratitude. This conference would not have been successful without your presence and participation. Pigia our makofi to all our delegates. It is the rich discussions here that have led to the comprehensive communique that has just been read. Our task now is to follow up and keenly work towards implementation of those resolutions. Devolution must continue to work. Again, thank you all for your contributions to the first biannual Devolution Conference. As you depart your various destinations, may the Almighty God go before you. Kongoi, Kongoi, asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Governor Sang. Your Excellency, next I'll invite the Speaker of the Senate, the Right Honorable Amason Kingi, to make his remarks. Mr. Speaker.
Your Excellency, Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, allow me to adopt the protocols as cited by the speakers who spoke before me and proceed to make my remarks. However, Your Excellency, with your permission, allow me to make my remarks in Swahili. Wahenga walinena wakasema kwamba kupanda ngoma si ngoma, ngoma ni kushuka mchongoma. Na pia wahenga wakarudi wakasema kwamba mchamaago hanyeli, huenda akawia papo. Now, Your Excellency, if you're still with me, I'll proceed in Swahili. But clearly from the facial expressions in the entire hall, I've lost all of you. And I wouldn't want to lose you at the beginning of my remarks. So allow me to go back to my written English speech. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
For the 3 days we have been here, we have reminded ourselves of the eventful journey of devolved governance in the last decade, and indeed laid on elaborate strategies on how to take devolution to the next level. Nothing best exemplifies your dedication as champions of devolution than the commitment you have exhibited the entire duration of this conference. The 8th Devolution Conference, as intended, has provided us with an opportunity to commemorate the milestone in our 10-year devolution journey, identify challenges, and seek to formulate appropriate responses as we rekindle our commitment to the devolution cause. Throughout this conference, we have participated in engagements as broadly outlined in 5 thematic areas, but crystallized in the following key objectives. 1, to assess and propose measures that county governments can adopt to enhance transformative service delivery for improved citizens' livelihoods and a stronger business environment. 2, examine the benefits of adopting technology and digitization and the potential impact on economic development and discuss strategies for promoting innovation and digital transformation in the devolved context. 3, to reflect on the trends and challenges that have been experienced in financing the devolved sector and recommend innovative approaches for sustainable and adequate financing for county governments. 4, to evaluate the effectiveness of good governance practices in promoting equitable and sustainable development in the devolved units. And finally, examine strides made in the affirmative action agenda and propose responsive measures that can be adopted to guarantee the place of women, the youth, and the most vulnerable in governance. These constitute the thought-provoking concepts we discussed and interrogated during the plenary and breakaway sessions, culminating in practical steps that we need to take with clear timelines and mechanisms for evaluation and impact assessment. Your Excellency, as we reminisced on the long journey we have traveled to this point, I was reminded of the first cohort of senators, governors, and members of county assemblies and the difficult moments they went through as they pushed to synchronize devolution with our national development priorities. This group, of which I happen to have been part in my capacity as governor, is credited with having laid a firm foundation for devolution under very difficult circumstances. I recall assuming my responsibilities as the first governor of Kilifi County without any physical office. I had to make use of what was previously my campaign secretariat on the outskirts of Kilifi town. The same scenario was witnessed in a number of counties across the country. But today, our counties boast of good office space for governors and staff and state-of-the-art assembly premises, enabling them to serve Kenyans better. The pioneer senators, too, were not left out. They had to contend with the less than ideal Shimba Hall at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC, in Nairobi, later moving to the County Hall, and finally to the current high-tech chamber at the main parliament buildings. Indeed, it has been a journey of 10 years. These humble beginnings did not dampen their spirits. In fact, it sharpened their resolve in discharging their constitutional mandate of representation, legislation, and oversight. This determination saw them secure critical footholds in favor of devolution. Back then, there was many insinuations that the Senate was a house for old men. We now know better. The Senate is, in fact, an august assembly of wise men and women, age notwithstanding. Today, we have a very vibrant, youthful Senate, oozing with wisdom and a great, tremendous appetite to protect devolution. To borrow the words of Chinua Achebe, these leaders have lived up to the true definition of the youth who have accepted to wash their hands and therefore won the right to dine on the king's table. Your Excellency, allow you to just mention but a few. Seated very next to you, we have the miracle Senator, Senator Karungo, youthful senator. Senator Methu, Senator Hezena, Senator Eddie Okech, Senator Chimera, just to mention but a few. These are young men and women who have fought and now occupy their rightful seats in the Senate. As we celebrate the gains and milestone in devolution, I invite you, distinguished delegates, to give these pioneer senators, governors, and members of County Assembly a hearty round of applause for having helped. Thank you for having helped chart a great cause of devolution in the face of adversity against numerous odds. Distinguished delegates and gentlemen, allow me at this juncture to briefly revisit the critical matter of the financial autonomy of county assemblies. In my speech at the opening ceremony, I alluded to the fact that county governments comprising the executive and county assemblies play a critical role to the success of devolution. Through their legislative mandates, county assemblies in particular have ensured counties had the necessary laws and policies on which service provision, project implementation, and grassroots development have been anchored since devolution got underway. The call for financial autonomy for our county assemblies is therefore fully merited and timely for the key reason that it will enhance their independence and elevate their role as oversight institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, a landmark bill, County Public Finance Laws Amendment Bill 2023, sponsored by the Deputy Speaker of the Senate and Meru Senator, the Honorable Kathuri Murungi, and which seeks to grant financial autonomy to county assemblies, is pending in our legislative pipeline. Among other radical measures, this proposed legislation seeks to cure the mischief that for years has left county assemblies ensnared by whims of county treasuries as they seek money to defray their administrative expenses. When this bill becomes law, county assemblies will not have to go through county executive committees to do their requisition as is presently the case. I want to assure you that the Senate, as the overseer of devolution as per Article 96 of the Constitution, will expedite this legislation, which once enacted will help county assemblies break free from this shackle that grossly undermines their mandate, especially the mandate relating to oversight of county governments. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to conclude my remarks by commending the President, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, for the bold directive he gave when he officially opened this conference on Wednesday, that all the remaining functions that have been earmarked to be devolved under Schedule 4 of the Constitution be released to the counties within 60 days. This statement, alongside the prompt release of county disbursements that he ordered 2 months ago, do confirm that in President Ruto, devolution is indeed in safe hands. As the Senate, we remain steadfast in discharging our constitutional mandate and provide an ideal environment for rollout of these functions at the county government's level. Ladies and gentlemen, let's leave Uasin-Gishu more passionate, more energized, more focused, with a single purpose to take devolution to greater heights. As we leave this place, let's engage a higher gear so that we can accelerate the progress and gains of devolution. With those few remarks, I wish to thank you for taking time to attend this conference and wish each one of you safe travel back to your destinations. May God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. Excellency, may I now call upon the Chairperson of the Council of Governors and the Governor of Kirinyaga, Her Excellency Anne Waiguru, to make her remarks.
Your Excellency, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, fellow Excellency Governors present, members of Parliament present, led by the Speaker of the Senate, honorable senators present, cabinet secretaries present, deputy governors present, principal secretaries, other national government representatives, development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of the Council of Governors, I take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to all who honored our invitation to the Devolution Conference 2023 and the first biannual conference where we have had the opportunity to reflect on a decade and a devolved system of governance in Kenya. I would also like to take this opportunity to appreciate most sincerely our staff. I've been reminded that they were not mentioned in the list of thank you. The staff of COG for their dedicated effort to make this conference a reality. Kindly give them a hand clap. I hope you have all been enriched and enlightened by the deliberations that took place in the last 2 days. It has indeed been a great honor for the Council of Governors to host this conference on behalf of the county governments. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the reflections we have had in the last 3 days took a holistic assessment of the performance of county governments in the last 10 years, bearing in mind that counties are key drivers for development and realization of the promise of devolution. It is apparent that the face of Kenya has radically transformed positively because of devolution, and that citizens have been able to access public services closer to them. Major changes were highlighted in the sectors of health, agriculture, transport and infrastructure, housing and urban development, industry and investment, youth, early childhood development, amongst others. The reflections also revealed the challenges that have bedeviled devolution since its inception, and recommendations were made on measures to address them as we begin a new decade under devolution. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, as we close this conference today, let me give a few highlights of the 3 days. First, I am very delighted that on the issue I raised on the county assembly's financial autonomy was not just confirmed by His Excellency, the President, but it took center stage in this conference and is part of the resolutions that we have highlighted at the end of the conference. We have also gotten a confirmation from the Senate that this indeed will become a reality sooner than later. We are 50% there. Secondly, the President reiterated his support for devolution with commitment to conclude the transfer of functions and resources to counties within 60 days. He also affirmed his government's commitment to devolution by ensuring the complete disbursement of all county resources at the end of the financial year 2022-2023. It is important to note that for the first time ever, resources were released to county governments on time in July during this financial year. It is our prayer that this good trend continues so that counties implement their budgets without delays and thus unlock their economic potential. Third, the conference demonstrated the reality that devolution has finally been accepted by all, as evidenced by the interest from the many individuals and organizations that participated or got involved in one way or another. The two levels of government and the other players have realized and resolved that they need to move away from competition and embrace complementarity through cooperation, collaboration, and coordination in the discharge of their mandates. This conference also demonstrated that it is a reality in Kenya today that nobody, whether in the public or private sector, can do anything outside the context of devolution. Accordingly, there is an increasing need for all players to understand the new governance framework in Kenya today. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, in the past 10 years, a number of players at the national level of government have proceeded on the basis that their sectors are not devolved and therefore have nothing to do with devolution. However, listening to the discussions on digitalization, and particularly the comments by the CS of ICT and the Director General of Communication Authority, it is apparent that even the sectors initially thought not to be devolved and having nothing to do with devolution need to understand devolution because they are either impacted by devolution or their actions impact devolution. In short, Your Excellency, nothing in this country can move forward without the involvement of counties, a reality we are all have to happily face. It was very refreshing
Eldoret.
Please be seated. The Chair of the Council of Governors, Anne Waiguru, the Governor of Kirinyaga, and a daughter from the mountain. Excellencies Governors, Excellencies Deputy Governors, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Devolution, Terry Baika, Honorable Senators present, Honorable Members of the National Assembly present, the representatives of constitutional commissions and independent institutions, heads of missions and members of the diplomatic corps, members of the county assemblies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Allow me to read what my team and I have put together, and thereafter speak from my heart in a plain and simple language. I join you for the 8th Devolution Conference and the first biennial conference as we celebrate a devolved but complementary system of governance. Over the last 4 days of this convening, which was opened by President William Ruto on Wednesday, we have appreciated the transformation of investing resources at the bottom of the socio-economic pyramid where they belong. As staunch believers in sparking grassroots economies, we have picked good practices and lessons for better, bolder and broader steps into the next decade of devolution. That is why the sub-theme, driving transformation from the local level, county governments as the center of economic development, is very apt. Governors, distinguished guests, at the start of our administration, President William Ruto was wrongly criticized for being purported to have scrapped off the Ministry of Devolution. This was not the case. It was a case of elevating devolution to the presidency. And in less than 1 year into office, the president has shown commitment to delivering on the devolution dream because it is aligned to the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. We have no room for a failed devolution because it is the anchor of the Kenya Kwanza transformation agenda. We are keeping the promise. In our first year in office, the national government owes no county a penny. On the other hand, President William Ruto elevated devolution and placed it at the office of the Deputy President, and in this regard, devolution enjoys a direct ear to the presidency. Besides being the chair of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, I'll be given the role to be the bridge between the national government and the county governments. In short, I am the representative of the devolved units at the decision-making table of the executive. On assuming office, I undertook to eliminate conflict between the two levels of government, and I convened a meeting of all county commissioners and directed them to accord due respect and work closely with elected governors and the county governments. Governors, distinguished guests, as a result of that directive, there is seamless cooperation and collaboration between the two levels of government because we serve the same people. There are no Kenyans who belong to the national government, and there are no Kenyans who belong to the county government. All Kenyans are Kenyans and they belong to the two levels of government. I have repeatedly cautioned the county commissioners and the security commanders that they must respect elected leaders and they must find a way to work with elected leaders. And I have told them repeatedly, in their unlikely and unfortunate events that they are unable to work together, governors are not transferable because they belong to those counties. And if they cannot work together, one must give way. Our plan is not an accident. It is a carefully thought out framework. It is a vehicle carrying the aspirations of counties, inspiring the economy of the grassroots. It is the position of President William Ruto that the bottom-up economic transformation agenda is synonymous with the devolution. Devolution and better are twin sisters, and they all aspire to achieve the same objective. That is why collaboration and partnership, despite the distinct nature of the mandates of the national and county governments, are key. We are here to cultivate and oil our mutual working relations for seamless service delivery. The conversation of this conference, therefore, has established that devolution is not a competition, but rather a working in a complementary manner for the benefit of the people of Kenya in the respective 47 counties. Excellencies, governors, distinguished guests, the advent of devolution has led to the rise of health facilities from about 8,000 in the year 2013 to over 13,700 to date. While it is in the interest of the counties to adequately provide technical and equipment support, leveraging partnership with the national government ensures quality health service. As we collectively work to implement the universal health coverage, the national government has also given priority to preventive health care to ultimately reduce pressure on the county facilities. Governors and distinguished guests, similarly, when more than 4.5 million people in over 30 counties faced famine recently, in the worst drought in 40 years after 5 failed consecutive seasons, it was out of collaboration between the national government and the county governments that no Kenyan died from hunger. As we expect a bumper harvest, counties were key in the last mile delivery of over 3 million bags of subsidized fertilizer to our farmers in at least 40 devolved units. Such partnership has been crucial in our own illicit brews and drug abuse. We have held forums between the county governments and the national government to deal with this menace. Besides public reforms in the coffee, tea, dairy, and other key subsectors. As President William Ruto said on Wednesday in this very conference, I would like to ask counties to work with us in the registration of farmers and in delivery of phase 2 of the subsidized fertilizer distribution to the farmer. Excellencies, distinguished guests, from these examples, comparing notes between the national and county governments, it is important in strategic planning and execution of short-term, mid-term, and long-term measures. Long-term measures involve pragmatic approaches to addressing the perennial issues and rebuilding back better in resilience programs under the shared or common functions. Last month, President William Ruto tasked me to represent him at the UN Food System Summit in Rome, Italy. A lesson to pick from the summit was the importance of pooling resources and investing in establishment of structured, self-sustaining food systems. In the face of the climate change threat, which knows no national and county government functions, combined actions and investments in climate-smart agriculture will enhance the national food security and protect better the environment. With the inclusion of food trees in the equation of planting 15 billion trees by the year 2032, we move closer to addressing the negative effect and impact of climate change. While this conference has also listened to the voices of the children, it is also a moment to decide on establishing a long-term framework on the school meal program, with counties having hired over 51,000 ECD teachers. Sustaining growth in enrollment and retention is key. The current school meal program has reduced dropping out of school by 56.5%, while milk alone has increased enrollment by over 50%. Under the self-sustaining food system, the school meal program is a potential economic opportunity in inter-county trade. Already, counties like our hosts, West in Gishu, are providing milk to children. This is a source of market for the dairy farmers. Our administration has also doubled funds for the school meal program to 5 billion Kenya shillings to cater for about 4 million learners while benefiting our farmers. As more counties embrace the meal initiative, there is need for a formal framework to expand and extend and sustain the program, which touches on our farmers directly. This is the real bottom-up development plan, as it will allow counties exchange their products. Excellencies, governors, distinguished guests, intra and inter-county trade is an essential component now that more than 90% of our counties keep missing own source of revenue collection targets. It is time to strategize and implement better plans of cooking a bigger cake for sharing. This is the ultimate answer to easing the revenue demands from the national government and reducing dependence. While we are empowering the counties to be economic powerhouses, we take note of the vulnerable groups of people amongst ourselves. They include orphans, the elderly, people living with disabilities, among others. They are at a risk of being left behind. The national government is rolling out another registration in September. We seek to partner with the counties in dignifying these special groups as conceived under the Inua Jamii program. We invite you to work with us in the registration process. On the other hand, the national government is working hard to securing our nation. As a result of our intervention, of telling our security teams that we are not in competition with the county government, a framework has been developed on how we can secure our people. I want to thank governors in the North Rift and Northern Kenya for agreeing to partner with the National Police Service in building houses for National Police Reserve and providing stipends as they work on dealing with insecurity and banditry. In building stronger security systems, we must continue to work together in ending terrorism, banditry, and other threats. Governors, distinguished guests, it is now my duty to declare the 8th Devolution Conference and the first biennial conference officially closed. Asanteni sana. Maybe niseme tu jambo moja. You know, in this country, I am known to speak the truth. And you know, many people have a problem with the truth. Many people. And this new Kenya, we are trying to get everybody to accept the truth as it is. The unprovoked and unwarranted attack on the US ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, is as a result of people being allergic to the truth and the reality. Ambassador Meg Whitman and other ambassadors were at bombers throughout the counting of votes. They had access to the public portal. They had calculators. They are educated. And they have done some bit of mathematics. They added the numbers, they observed, and they were clear that the election was won fair and square, and it was open, democratic, and meets the best international standards. What the ambassador is saying is that is the truth. So she is being attacked and vilified by saying what everybody knows. I want to request leaders to accept the truth and the reality and move on. Life is not static. Life is dynamic. Today you are up, tomorrow you are down, and so on. Again, I want to request our leaders to exercise patriotism to their motherland. President William Ruto inherited a difficult situation. I said in Kasarani on the inauguration day on the 13th of September last year, and some people thought I'm mischievous, and they thought probably I'm mannerless to say the truth in front of visitors. And I said the kind of economy we had inherited, and the coffers were empty, and in our stores even rats had disappeared because there was nothing to eat. And the president has embarked on a very difficult journey of the economic transformation of this great republic. Along the way, we have found good friends. Ambassador Meg Whitman, in a record time, has increased the volume of trade between Kenya and the United States, that as I speak today, the United States of America is Kenya's largest trading partner in the world. She has taken time to sit with the president, to sit with me, to sit with our cabinet ministers, to unlock business opportunities and to bring investors from America. What she deserves is commendation, not vilification for being truthful. I want to urge Ambassador Meg to ignore the noises and acclimatize to the Kenyan way of doing things. Perennial complaints year after year. She should stay focused and go on with her work. I want to say that we need also to be respectful to our development partners. You cannot speak in a public forum before national television and say that you have the capacity to recall an ambassador from the United States accredited to this country by the American government. It's simply being mischievous. As a private citizen, how would you recall an ambassador? You cannot even transfer an assistant chief in your locus application. You know, it's part of the denial syndrome. You know what was happening during the hardship regime? It's something that happened that nobody can comprehend. That cabinet ministers were being told to go and brief a private citizen on what is happening in government. Principal secretaries were being told to go and brief a private citizen on the workings of government. The CS National Treasury was being told to go and brief a private citizen about the budget. That is why that private citizen thinks he can recall the American ambassador to go back to the country. That situation is over. We have a government in place. Please just take up your rightful role and oversight government, because that is your role. Again, I want to say that the hardship team, after destroying the economy of this country, gave President Ruto no chance, because they knew it was almost impossible to turn around the country. In a record 1 year, President William Ruto, through pragmatic leadership, continuous engagement, agreeing to be advised, having a very competent economic council, has done the unthinkable. In 1 year, the economy has shown signs of recovery, to the extent that for the first time in 7 years, all county governments were given their money before the closure of the financial year on June 30th. All members of parliament and the respective constituency development funds in the 290 constituencies were given all the allocation before the closure of the financial year on June 30th. So the people who had schemed to destroy the economy so that the next leader can fail are very envious. And that is why they are bitter, and that is why they are trying to portray our friends as bad people. What is happening, and I want to invite our brothers to understand, this William Ruto you despised, and you gave him no chance. Today, he is the desired visitor of every capital in the world. If he was to honor the invitations to the countries he is being asked to visit, he would be out of this country for 360 days in a year. And that is why people are envious. They thought that the West would not embrace him. They thought that the East will not embrace him. They characterized him as somebody unworthy of leadership. They said he is a thief. They said he is corrupt. They say the bottom-up economic agenda is a farce. In 1 year, he has become the leading light in the African continent. He is being sought by every country in Africa to speak for Africa. So I want to ask our brothers and sisters to just accept and move on. Life is that simple. It is that simple. Again, the president talked about corruption in the county governments and the national government. There is no corruption for the national government and the county governments. Corruption is corruption in its very form. And this government will deal with the corruption in the national government, in the county governments, and in the country. We know that some people are very uncomfortable because previously governors have been twisted to give money obtained fraudulently and corruptly to fund political activities. With this new war on corruption in the county governments, it is no longer going to be possible to coerce governors from your coalition to give you money for politics. That is a problem. That is a problem. So we understand where they are coming from. We feel you. We feel you. We know you are in a difficult situation. Finally, I want to say we are ready to work with the county government across the political landscape. We don't care in what political formation you are in. And we have told our people, we have told the administration, we have told the police to keep off politics because they are not good at it. It is foolish to use administrators and police in your politics. You will lose. That is how Uhuru and Raila lost by using chiefs and assistant chiefs and police in politics. We cannot repeat the same mistake. So chiefs, assistant chiefs, county commissioners, OCS, OSPD, they have no business in politics. Their work is to give services to the people of Kenya. Is to fight crime, is to fight illicit brew, is to register farmers, is to espouse government policy and keep off politics. Even governors elected on the opposition platform will enjoy the services of the administrators and the police and everybody else in an equitable and fair manner like the rest of the country. And therefore, let us work together. I am available for consultation with the COG in a structured manner. I am available to individual governors. You don't need an appointment to come to my office as an elected governor. Anybody who has been elected by 100,000 people, it's not a joke. That is somebody who needs no appointment to go anywhere. Being 100,000 people who slept in a different home and they have not talked, and they all come to the ballot and decide you are the right person, you are somebody to be respected. So you don't need an appointment to come and talk to us. And those who have come to me, where you have challenges with our administrators, I have taken remedial action, and I will continue to do so. I'm told that when I answered the governor of Migori in Alliance, some governors were uncomfortable that I was disrespectful. I wanted to make a clarification. I was not talking about governors. I was talking about every Kenyan who has been denied security for bad behavior. And I was saying, when they are good behavior, we shall review, and we are reviewing. Okay? And it's not just governors, even presidential candidates, even running mates, even very senior people, former vice presidents, including ministers, everybody who needs to carry a firearm, your temperament must be right. That is the law. What we are saying is, we cannot allow our officers to be in maandamano because they'll have to fight their fellow officers and it is wrong. We are saying, if these maandamanos require so many officers, we must look for those officers from somewhere. And we start with those who are planning so that they can come and help us to beef up security. But if these demonstrations are over with life, that's what we are saying. And from what I can see, I think it looks like it's over. So once we are sure it is over, you have your so that officers are dignified and governors are provided security so that they are able to carry out their work. We only had a problem when we had a shortage of officers and we needed more officers, and the people who are planning were having some of the officers. So we needed to get them to come and fight them and then go back. Because that's the way things are done. So mimi nimeshukuru sana, and I really want to thank you. And this devolution must work because the bottom-up economic transformation agenda must work. So the two have a symbiotic relationship. For one to work, the other one must work. So the president and I and the rest of us would support devolution. And it is my commitment, all factors being constant, governors will receive their monthly disbursement on time. But we also want to ask you governors to be fair to us. When these disbursements were late, you are shouting everywhere about it. Why don't you even spare 2 minutes to say that now you are receiving money on time, so that you tell the people of Kenya? It's already fair. If you are complaining, you did not have. to Kenyans. When you get, you have a duty also to inform them that you are getting. So it's important also to be fair to each other. So, COG Chair, at least I'm happy you have acknowledged that we have given you disbursement on time, and that should continue. And I want to tell you the economy is improving and is doing much better. Even when we come to negotiations next year on the division of revenue bill, I believe we'll have a better conversation. We'll have a better conversation. And when the economy improves, the governors, you are the first people to know, because wananchi will know, because they will feel the impact of an improved economy. And we have no desire to keep money away from you. We'll give you the money when we collect it. And we must collect it from somewhere, and we will collect it from the people of Kenya. So we want governors to support what we are doing to collect more money so that we pass it on to you. It doesn't make sense for any governor in the 47 counties to oppose the finance bill, because the finance bill is about raising money to give you another Kenyans. So if you complain we are collecting money and you still expect money from us, then there is a problem. So mimi nimeshukuru sana kwa kunialika hapa, and we look forward to be meeting you from time to time as we continuously engage. Invite me to come now, we launch your projects. That is the docket in my office. And as I said, there are no Kenyans for county governments, and there are no Kenyans for the national government. They are the same people. The same people who elected you as governors and senators are the same people who elected President William Ruto and I. We serve the same people. Let us work together, let us collaborate, let us cooperate for the benefit of the people of Kenya. With those very many remarks, asanteni sana, Mungu wabariki na wabariki sana. An oversight government, because that is your role. Again, I want to say that the hardship team, after destroying the economy of this country, gave President Ruto no chance, because they knew it was almost impossible to turn around the country. In a record 1 year, President William Ruto, through pragmatic leadership, continuous engagement, agreeing to be advised, having a very competent economic council, has done the unthinkable. In 1 year, the economy has shown signs of recovery, to the extent that for the first time in 7 years, all county governments were given their money before the closure of the financial year on June 30th. All members of parliament and the respective constituency development funds in the 290 constituencies were given all the allocation before the closure of the financial year on June 30th. So the people who had schemed to destroy the economy so that the next leader can fail are very envious. And that is why they are bitter, and that is why they are trying to portray our friends as bad people. What is happening, and I want to invite our brothers to understand, this William Ruto you despised and you gave him no chance. Today, he is the desired visitor of every capital in the world. If he was to honor the invitations to the countries he is being asked to visit, he would be out of this country for 360 days in a year. And that is why people are envious. They thought that the West would not embrace him. They thought that the East will not embrace him. They characterized him as somebody unworthy of leadership. They said he is a thief. They said he is corrupt. They say the bottom-up economic agenda is a farce. In 1 year, he has become the leading light in the African continent. He is being sought by every country in Africa to speak for Africa. So I want to ask our brothers and sisters to just accept and move on. Life is that simple. It is that simple. Again, The president talked about corruption in the county governments and the national government. There is no corruption for the national government and the county governments. Corruption is corruption in its very form. And this government will deal with the corruption in the national government, in the county governments, and in the country. We know that some people are very uncomfortable because previously governors have been twisted to give money obtained fraudulently and corruptly to fund political activities. With this new war on corruption in the county governments, it is no longer going to be possible to coerce governors from your coalition to give you money for politics. That is a problem. That is a problem. So we understand where they are coming from. We feel you. We feel you. We know you are in a difficult situation. Finally, I want to say we are ready to work with the county government across the political landscape. We don't care in what political formation you are in. And we have told our people, we have told the administration, we have told the police to keep off politics because they are not good at it. It is foolish to use administrators and police in your politics. You will lose. That is how Uhuru and Raila lost, by using chiefs and assistant chiefs and police in politics. We cannot repeat the same mistake. So chiefs, assistant chiefs, county commissioners, OCS, OSPD, they have no business in politics. Their work is to give services to the people of Kenya. Is to fight crime, is to fight illicit brew, is to register farmers, is to espouse government policy and keep off politics. Even governors elected on the opposition platform will enjoy the services of the administrators and the police and everybody else in an equitable and fair manner like the rest of the country. And therefore, let us work together. I am available for consultation with the COG in a structured manner. I am available to individual governors. You don't need an appointment to come to my office as an elected governor. Anybody who has been elected by 100,000 people, it's not a joke. That is somebody who needs no appointment to go anywhere. Being 100,000 people who slept in a different home and they have not talked, and they all come to the ballot and decide you are the right person, you are somebody to be respected. So you don't need an appointment to come and talk to us. And those who have come to me, where you have challenges with our administrators, I have taken remedial action, and I will continue to do so. I'm told that when I answered the governor of Migori in Alliance, some governors were uncomfortable that I was disrespectful. I wanted to make a clarification. I was not talking about governors. I was talking about every Kenyan who has been denied security for bad behavior. And I was saying, when they are good behavior, we shall review, and we are reviewing. Okay? And it's not just governors, even presidential candidates, even running mates, even very senior people, former vice presidents, including ministers, everybody who needs to carry a firearm, your temperament must be right. That is the law. What we are saying is, we cannot allow our officers to be in maandamano because they'll have to fight their fellow officers, and it is wrong. We are saying, if these maandamanos require so many officers, we must look for those officers from somewhere. And we start with those who are planning so that they can come and help us to beef up security. But if these demonstrations are over with the life, that's what we are saying. And from what I can see, I think it looks like it's over. So once we are sure it is over, you have your so that officers are dignified and governors are provided security so that they are able to carry out their work. We only had a problem when we had a shortage of officers, and we needed more officers, and the people who are planning were having some of the officers. So we needed to get them to come and fight them and then go back, because that's the way things are done. So mimi nimeshukuru sana and I really want to thank you. And this devolution must work because the bottom-up economic transformation agenda must work. So the two have a symbiotic relationship. For one to work, the other one must work. So the President and I and the rest of us will support devolution. And it is my commitment, all factors being constant, governors will receive their monthly disbursement on time. But we also want to ask you governors to be fair to us. When these disbursements were late, you are shouting everywhere about it. Why don't you even spare 2 minutes to say that now you are receiving money on time, so that you tell the people of Kenya? It's already fair. If you are complaining you did not have to Kenyans, when you get, you have a duty also to inform them that you are getting. So heshimiane is important also, to be fair to each other. So COG Chair, at least I'm happy you have acknowledged that we have given you disbursement on time, and that should continue. And I want to tell you the economy is improving and is doing much better. Even when we come to negotiations next year on the division of revenue bill, I believe we'll have a better conversation. We'll have a better conversation. And when the economy improves, the governors, you are the first people to know, because wananchi will know, because they will feel the impact of an improved economy. And we have no desire to keep money away from you. We'll give you the money when we collect it. And we must collect it from somewhere, and we will collect it from the people of Kenya. So we want governors to support what we are doing to collect more money so that we pass it on to you. It doesn't make sense for any governor in the 47 counties to oppose the finance bill, because the finance bill is about raising money to give you and other Kenyans. So if you complain we are collecting money and you still expect money from us, then there is a problem. So mimi nimeshukuru sana kwa kunialika hapa, and we look forward to be meeting you from time to time as we continuously engage. Invite me to come now, we launch your projects. That is the docket in my office. And as I said, there are no Kenyans for county governments, and there are no Kenyans for the national government. They are the same people. The same people who elected you as governors and senators are the same people who elected President William Ruto and I. We serve the same people. Let us work together, let us collaborate, let us cooperate for the benefit of the people of Kenya. With those very many remarks, asanteni sana, Mungu wabariki na wabariki sana. An oversight government, because that is your role. Again, I want to say that the hardship team, after destroying the economy of this country, gave President Ruto no chance.